Hi, today we're going to be talking about acquaintance and how important it is for the community and law enforcement to learn to get acquainted with each other. You know, it's a great thing when we can see our local law enforcement agent, our local police officer, we can wave at them and actually know them. But many times, because of the advancement of law enforcement with the car, which replaced the foot beat and also replaced the horse and buggy, we now are speed from call to call and really don't have any time to interact with our own people, with the community that we serve. And so today we want to talk about acquaintance and how important it is to become acquainted with your local law enforcement, and how important it is for law enforcement to reach back out to the community and say, hey, we are open and we are ready to build a relationship with you. So when we talk about acquaintance, this is the first thing that I'd like to say, that we begin by having a point or a place of engagement. And so a place of engagement means that oftentimes the only time we meet each other is when we are in a very negative situation. Either I pulled you over and I want to give you a ticket, or your house has been burglarized and you want to call the law enforcement agent to come over and take a report. But never do we have a time where we can just sit down, talk, and engage each other when there's nothing going on. So today I want to talk about how do we do that? How do we make sure that you can know your local law enforcement agent? How can you be sure that they know who you are? And then how can you go on and build that relationship? So becoming acquainted means simply this. On a day where you have a little time, go get a case of water. Call your local law enforcement agency and say, hey, I have some water for your agents, for your deputies, for your police officers, and could you come by my house? The important thing is, somebody may go, well, we don't have time, or we can't, but guess what? The water's not going anywhere. The next week when you're available, you can do that same thing, because becoming acquainted with your local law enforcement personnel in that area will provide three things. It does give you a relationship. So now you're going to get to know Deputy Jones or Officer Smith. When they come by, you're going to get to know what beat and what time they work, and you're going to get to know those hours of working. Secondly, that officer will begin to know you. So if you're giving water out to everyone, guess what? They will begin to go, oh, that's Miss Smith's home. She's good. She's a nice lady. He's a nice gentleman. Let's go by there and let's just go check on them. So what takes place is we now begin to build that relationship and we become acquainted with each other. So there has to be places of engagement. And so how we engage each other is very important as well. One thing that local law enforcement can also do is provide an opportunity where the community can meet them in non-threatening places. All right, most of the time we're pulling you over, most of the time we're going to your homes and taking reports, but how about having coffee with the captain? Going to your local coffee shop, asking the coffee shop to sponsor a pot of coffee, and then letting the community know, hey, we're going to be at this location, our captain's going to be there, and we just want to make friends. We want to find out where you live, how you're living, and what's going on in your area. That's a great way to become acquainted for local law enforcement. Another great way to do that is community campouts. You can actually go to door, knock on the doors of people as law enforcement, get your explorers or your volunteers, knock on the door and invite them out for a cool drink of water, alrighty, and also just explain to them who you are. But if we do not begin to engage each other and have places of engagement that are non-threatening, and I'm not talking about community meetings where people are frustrated, I'm talking about where we both can share a cup of coffee, look each other in the eye, and respect each other as individuals. Because at the end of the day, as law enforcement, they want to be respected as individuals, doing a great job for the community, and at the end of the day, the community wants to be respected as the salary payers and the co-workers and co-laborers alongside law enforcement. So what I would invite you to do is to become engaged with your law enforcement by simply getting acquainted. Getting acquainted is one of the first steps to building a better relationship between law enforcement and the community. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you later.